War, inflation and stock market uncertainty, and all after a global pandemic. It's no surprise that you feel uneasy about the future. There's so many things out of your control, but your finances do not need to be one of them. Since 2016, we've helped people just like you to secure their finances in gold and silver outside of the banking system, so that they don't get battered by the financial storm that isn't going to end anytime soon. Precious metals are in demand more than ever before as people realise how financially vulnerable they really are. Our message is simple. Don't wait. Don't be at the back of the line. Visit goldbusters.co.uk and see how we can help you today.
Was not.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, Jason Shurka. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on again, Charlie.
Well, you very kindly gave me a preview of what your fifth part of the TLS. What do I call it? You've constructed basically a series of videos,
yep,
lightening the world as to TLS, something I certainly knew nothing about last year or the year before. But we've always known that there have been secret groups out there that we've tended to label as negative.
Yep.
And this is one of those secret groups that is incredibly positive. And you've just done a wonderful interview, the fifth part, with the Black Widow, who's another person in this group,
mm-hmm,
who's borne testimony to what's going on. Obviously, Ray was the first to come forward. That's
mm-hmm,
it. This is their names that they're given. This isn't their real names. They gave us an insight into what's going on behind the scenes. I was fascinated by the fact that she'd go to another country just for 5 minutes as a distraction.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's amazing. It's very much amazing. I've known many times in my life where there's been distractions, none more so than the last 2 years, that have taken our eyes over here, and we should have been looking over there. So that amused me. And for those people, this is an introduction to this video. And it's beautifully put together by Jason. And I thank you for that.
Thank you.
We started this journey together.
There's one thing I want to add there, because there's a point that some people don't know that I think needs to be brought to the surface right now, where when we're speaking about the TLS organization and all that, there are a lot of people that are saying, okay, well, so far it's been Ray, right? And everybody said, okay, but he's still not disclosed. How do we know it's a real person? How do we know it's not an actor? How do we know it's not you? Can we see somebody else from the organization? So I worked a little bit and I spoke and I persisted and all that. And then I got this woman who's the Black Widow to speak. And again, whoever doesn't want to believe will say what they want to say. But there's one thing that nobody can refute. There is a fourth person who's come out and had permission to come out full face, full disclosure, and say and share her testimony with the organization. And that woman's name is Dr. Sandra Rose Michael.
Oh, yeah.
She's the inventor of the energy enhancement system technology that's going global right now all around the world. And she was actually approached by the organization before I was. She was approached by the organization in July of 2011 because of her technology. And then I was sent to Las Vegas to go and interview her publicly. This is a fully disclosed interview, to go interview her, to bring attention to her technology and to help bring that around the world. And in that interview, she was given that blessing to share her experiences with the organization. So there's really 4 people at this point. It's 2 undisclosed and 2 disclosed, myself included.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how people question whether it's real or not, and yet don't question the vaccine, don't question the lockdowns, don't question the masks, don't question anything else. And the minute you bring them truth, they question it.
And you know, what's even greater than that is even the people that do question the vaccines and all those things, they don't question the fact that, meaning the people who are so-called awakened, the ones that don't want to believe this still believe that there's a dark side. So isn't it logical to come and say, well, if we can believe that there's dark organizations doing dark stuff, then there must be the exact opposite doing light.
Yeah. Well, we know that in the simple principles of a battery, you have a positive and a negative. In the world we live in, we have God, we have the devil, Satan. It's right in front of us. So to close our minds down and say, well, there can only be this or there can only be that, shows a complete lack of intelligence or brainwashing or indoctrination, whatever you want to call it. And what you and I have done, and I don't think you'll mind me mentioning this, because you and I 18 months ago when we started this journey, cautious.
Yes.
But the more you find out, the more you find peace, the more you find comfort, because you find out more. Some things surprise you. I know they've surprised you and they've surprised me. The one that surprised me is how you can just send somebody just for a distraction. Nothing else, just a distraction.
Yeah.
And there's things like this that you smile about and you realize, you and I probably know, I certainly do in my life, where I've been distracted for a millisecond and it's taken me away from what I should have been doing. And at 62 years old, very often I forget what I was even thinking or talking about because of that distraction. And I have to say to people, I've forgotten what I was talking about. And some people out there listening to me, because most of my audience and my sort of age group will know that feeling, that it only takes a little distraction for us to be, what was I talking about? I can't remember.
Everything.
Exactly. And when you start to understand this, as to why they do things like this for distractions, then you'll start to embrace the fact that TLS exists. There are people out there that are trying to save us rather than trying to kill us.
100%. And a lot of people also with the saving side, because this is also very important. A lot of people like looking for that savior or messiah or whatever it is. And the difference between the light and the darkness, and I think people will see it through watching this series 1 through 5 now that's coming out soon, is the fact that the light, they don't do things for us. They do things because of us. The reason why they've been ramping things up over the past few years is because we've been waking up more over the past few years. So it's almost like they respond to us. They don't always do it for us. And that's the difference between us having to stop saying, okay, save me. You know, it's not that. It's we're saving ourselves and they're there along the way to assist us. And that's this like new paradigm that we're really moving into.
It is. And for anybody out there that wants to understand more about this, Jason, as I said, this is the 5th part. And he's put an awful lot of work into this. And I enjoyed this one. There was a number of reasons I enjoyed it, because the Black Widow had the same view as me with the difference between religion and spirituality, where religion had destroyed my family on a grand scale. So I became anti-religion. I know you're not allowed to say that. You can't be an anti-vaxxer. You can't be an anti-religion. You can't be anti-anything. I'm an anti-vaxxer. I don't like the idea of a vaccination. I don't like the idea of religion. I put it out there because that's who I am. I'm being honest with myself. I'm not buttering up to some people where you have to say this. That's not me. But what I have learned is that I didn't know that I was. I've now become very spiritual. I'm connected to what's within me. And that way, when I'm connected to what's within me, I believe what's within me is God. That's what I believe. And God has created us in his own image, and God is the creator. So he's created lots of creators, and it's time to be creative, like Jason has been creative. He's going out there and doing things. And it rests with every single one of you who sat at home not doing anything right now. It's time to get off your backside and do something. And it doesn't matter what it is, just do something to defend your freedom. And if Charlie Ward at 62 years old, as a grandfather of 4 and a father of 4, can do it, anyone can do it.
100%. 100%.
And I started off with 37 followers on YouTube. That's where I started from. And I didn't buy any followers. I didn't pay for any followers. All I did was go out looking for the truth, and I put out there my truth. That's it. And on
That's all
that
you
journey,
do.
I met Jason.
That's all you can do. And by the way, I commend you for standing up on the religion side of things, because I know people don't want to hear that, and people go crazy about it. It's like you're attacking their foundation of being. But oh my God, I'm so with you on that one, and I'm happy to say that publicly. I think that there's a lot to learn from books out there and Bibles out there and all that. I don't think we've been executing it the right way whatsoever. I think we've been executing in a way of division as opposed to unity. I think the fact that individuals are saying, no, they're not from us, you can't marry them. What kind of nonsense is that? What do you mean? They got a heart, they got a brain, they got a soul. You're a human being. Enough is enough with dividing between these beliefs that we've been so programmed to identify with that we've turned into cults, really. That's what it is. There's a bunch of cults all around the world.
I was with somebody in Dubai, must be 4 years ago now, must be. And we were talking about Christianity and the Muslims.
Mm.
And he looked at me, he said, Charlie, we're exactly the same. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 10 years. He said this 4 years ago. He said, I wouldn't be surprised in the next 10 years if we all come together. And I said, you know what? That wouldn't surprise me either. And now it's a given, because the only reason we've been divided is because if Christians and Muslims came together, politicians wouldn't be able to do what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. This was all about control, divide and conquer. And if you take the number of Christians and the number of Muslims and put them together, no government in the world will be able to control them at all, ever.
Nobody.
Ever. They wouldn't be able to stop you going to church, to the synagogue, to the mosque, to anything, because they would be completely outnumbered. And that's where we need to get to. And then when you realize that the Quran and the Bible are basically the same book written by different people in different languages.
It's all the same. It's all the same thing.
It's all the
same thing, saying it in a different way. And it just upsets me. It upsets me to see where, even within my community, I see it all the time. It's like, you can't marry her, you can't marry him. Yep. They're not from us. They're not a part of us. What do you mean? What do you mean? It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good.
It's very easy to criticize the extremists in Muslims and the extremists in Christians. Very easy. But we can learn from each other. My wife is a Muslim and I'm a Christian. The one thing I've learned with Muslim women, they don't even consider being unfaithful. It's not in their DNA. She doesn't. She has made a commitment to me for the rest of our lives. She's made it very clear to me there's only one reason she would ever leave me, and that is if I was unfaithful. That's it. Nothing to do with money, nothing to do with anything else. If I'm unfaithful, she would leave. She said, never come and say sorry. And I know that I've known for 11 years the ground rules. Why would I bother crossing them? I know what I have. I've got something very special. The grass is never going to be greener the other side. Mm-hmm. I'm very grateful for what God has given me. He's actually given me more than I deserve. And I'm grateful for that. And that's not to say that we don't have arguments. We do. She's a very strong-minded woman, and I'm a strong-minded man. And sometimes we have to agree to disagree. Sometimes.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough. And, and then every now and then we just catch a little twinkle in the eye half an hour later, which you don't get on Tinder, you don't get on Snapchat, you don't get on Instagram, you don't get that twinkle. You only get it in real life when you connect with real people.
Yeah.
So having watched the video you sent me that you've put together, I think everybody should watch this because it will give you an insight. For those who've watched the first 5 parts, this is part 5, which is it just, what it does is it puts it another. Look, it puts it from a woman's perspective.
Yeah,
So far,
yeah.
it's just been Jason and it's just been Ray, men talking about secret stuff.
Exactly.
Now we got a woman involved, and we also know another woman involved as well, which is who's gone public about it. But these are things, when you hear it from a woman's perspective, carries a lot of weight.
100%. Charlie, do you mind if I share a trailer with everybody to show?
Please do. Please do.
First and foremost, who is Ray to you within the organization?
Ray is sort of my boss. There's a boss above Ray, but he's more my direct handler, you could say.
Do you know his family?
I do. I know his family. I know his whole family.
Does his family know you?
They don't know what I do. The only person who knows who I am and what I do is his wife. Most of the time that we go to missions and trips, we're not alone. All of our trips, we're surrounded with more people from TLS for backup.
How big can this get?
As a mom, the operation with the tunnels and saving the kids was something that I really, really, really wanted to do. But Ray would not even consider for me to come because he had a responsibility to my kids, for my family. As much as I offered to join the operation, he said absolutely not. He wouldn't take the chance.
Incredible.
I'm so excited to put that one out. It's really answering what everybody asked for. They're like, can we get somebody else from the organization? I did not think it was going to be possible, but we got it.
This is all part of the awakening, and you and I have been called to do this. We haven't questioned it. We've got on and done it. And it was the same with Roger Stone that I was talking to you just now. He's been called to do something and he's doing it. And it's a war right now. But what we're doing is exposing now what we have on our side.
Yep.
Well, Jason, thank you so much. I'm sure you'll send me over the link and you'll let me know when it's going to be released.
I'll send you everything. It's all coming out for the world premiere on October 10th at 10:10 a.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be on the unified platform beforehand for anybody who wants to watch that. So I'll send you the links for that. And everybody that's watching this, please just share this far and wide, because that's how we get this out there. This isn't with ads and paid promotions and commercials. It's through us coming together to really spread that word and spread it to the best way that we know how to.
Perfect. Great to see you, Jason.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, buddy.